resolution without debating it by Joseph Jobert, 1896. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Ma'am.
Today marks one of the highlights in our activity for this fourth reading. In Science 9, one of our topics is the different energy sources. We have the renewable and non-renewable energy sources. In relation to this, one of the controversial issues that we are facing right now is exploring the nuclear power plant. So the resolution of the debate this afternoon goes, will Philippines consider to operate a nuclear power plant? For the information of our judges, this topic was being announced last week so that the two teams were able to research for their debate this afternoon. So to introduce the members for the proposition team and the opposition team, together with mechanics for conducting this debate, I will now give the floor to Ms. Irish Quesada as the chair for this activity.
Once again, good afternoon, everyone. At this moment, I would like to introduce to you the members of the proposition stand and the opposition stand. For the proposition stand, the first speaker is Bailani Berdinar. The second speaker is Charlie Pearl Romero. The third speaker is Sean Moises Villahermosa. The fourth speaker is Alea Rose Galindez. The fifth speaker is Jericho Di Manalata. And the sixth speaker is Ana Pearl Susana. Let's give them a round of applause. And for the opposition stand, the first speaker is Via Faye Badilles. The second speaker is Hazel Jean Lorenzo. The third speaker is Catherine Sarabia. The fourth speaker is Janine May Cortez. The fifth speaker is Milin Joy Soria. And the sixth speaker is Mariel Garcesa. Once again, let's give them a round of applause. And our timekeeper is Angelica Kasungkat. The board of judges are Mrs. Emilia Pidingzon, Mr. Alexander Wong. So once again, let's give them a round of applause. Here's the House rule in conducting debate. First and second presenter for both stands will be given 3 minutes to deliver their respective arguments without interruption. The first to present the argument will be the first speaker from proposition stand, followed by the second speaker of the proposition stand, and the first speaker of the opposition stand, and the second speaker of the opposition stand. The timer will raise a green flag to remind the speaker that he or she has only 1 minute left to speak. Yellow flag for 30 seconds, and orange flag for 15 seconds. Ring the bell indicating that the speaker must bring to close his or her speech. So at this moment, I will give the floor to the first and second speaker for the proposition stand.
Good afternoon, everyone. We stand firm to resolve that we agree that Philippines will consider to operate nuclear power plant because having nuclear power plant dominates the other power producing technologies in the world, both in case of safety and the amount of power production. We all know that there are many unfinished construction here in our country, and putting nuclear power plant is very expensive. But our government will not put up and operate nuclear power plant here in our country if they don't have budget. If we should observe our country, there are many places that continuously suffering from power interruption. Yes, there are many people can survive without electricity. But we are now in the 21st century, so that putting up and operate nuclear power plant is one solution to prevent power interruption that's happening here in our country. Because nuclear power plants can provide stable energy to become a base plant, the foundation of the energy grid, and a steady source of electricity. Nuclear power plants provide over 16% of world's electricity and generating electricity for almost 90% annual time. This nuclear power plant not only gives us electricity, because one of the key reasons for extending the life of nuclear power plants is the fact that it is possible to solve the problem of air pollution through increased use of nuclear energy since it does not release greenhouse gases. Nuclear power plant reduces greenhouse gas emission. Greenhouse gas emission is a contentious issue. Nuclear power argues that as no coal or fossil fuels are burned, no carbon dioxide is released into the air. Although the initial cost of building nuclear power plants is high, but the running costs are moderately low. A nuclear power plant reduces the price of volatility of other fuels such as petrol. Nuclear power plants would help to improve energy security and reduce dependence on imported fossil fuels, so that Philippines could still consider nuclear energy as a possible future option. And God will not give us knowledge, especially for the scientists who are the inventors for their invention that can harm people. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nuclear energy offers a number of economic, environmental, strategy, and operational advantages. It offers supply security. Uranium resources are well distributed around the world, and nuclear fuel is easily stored, unlike hydrocarbon reserves which are concentrated in the Middle East and Russia. Russia, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Iran alone hold more than 2/3 of all oil and gas reserves. It offers a remarkable operational performance and safety, largely due to a new generation of reactors, Generation 3+ developed by Aragon. It is an alternative to fossil fuels, so the consumption of fuels such as coal or oil is reduced. This reduction of coal and oil consumption benefits the situation of global warming and global climate change. Nuclear power plants don't require a lot of space. They do not need a large plant like a wind farm, but they have to build near a large body of water for cooling purposes, using the water as a heat sink. They usually found on coast, so there is no risk to drinking water sources. Nuclear power stations do not produce smoke particles to pollute the atmosphere or emit gases that contribute to acid rain. Nuclear energy is by far the most concentrated form of energy. A lot of energy is produced from a small mass of fuel. This reduces transport costs. Although the fuel is radioactive and therefore those transport does not require is expensive because of security implications. We can control the output from a nuclear power station to fit our needs. It is relatively easy to control the output, although the time factor for altering power output is not as small as for fossil fuel stations. It is said to have a long startup time. It cannot respond immediately to demand. That is why electricity companies try to even out demand by using tariffs that encourage use to off-peak time periods. Nuclear power produces a small volume of waste that is reliable because it does not depend on the weather. According to the report of IEA, or International Energy Agency, nuclear would help to improve energy security and reduce dependence on imported fossil fuels. So, if we can see that we depend on the advantages of the nuclear power plant, so we really need it here in our country, the Philippines, and we people should give importance to the inventions of the scientists because they know that their inventions can help people. And government will not put a nuclear power plant near to the people because they know that this nuclear can harm many people. Thank you.
To our panel of educators, to my co-debaters, to the audience, a pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. We are the opposition side. A nuclear power plant is a thermal power station in which the heat source is a nuclear reactor. We all know that this power plant can produce electricity. But don't you think first the financial amount of having this in our country? A government cannot afford this kind of project. Nowadays, government has many projects like reconstructing roads and bridges. In our country, there are many projects that are unfinished. If the government plans to have this in our country, it may affect our health because having this kind of plantation is dangerous. Dangerous because it can pollute our air. Nuclear power plant has many disadvantages. Some of these are radioactive waste, nuclear accidents, nuclear radiation, high cost, national risk, impact on human life, major impact on aquatic life, fuel availability, and it is a non-renewable resources. If our country will build or operate this kind of power plant, the question is, where can we put or construct this kind of plantation if our country is a populated country? Many people will suffer having this power plant because of the air pollution and radiation coming from this plantation. Philippines is not open for this nuclear power plant because our country is not yet improved. This power plant can consume a large amount of space in our country. This nuclear power plant can destroy the marine organisms because of its waste. We should love, care, and preserve our Mother Earth. Our environment is important for us to have a good future and for us to have a clean and safe country. How can we save our Mother Earth if this plantation will be constructed and operated in our country? How can people living in our country have a good health if our environment is polluted? We should care, love, protect, and save our Mother Earth. Say no for nuclear power plants. That's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, as we all know, having a nuclear power plant can make our lives easier. And we all know that Philippines had once a nuclear power plant which had been announced by Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos to build it last July 1973 at Morong, Bataan, which is called the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, or the BNPP. Construction of the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant began in 1976. Following the 1979 Three Mile Island accident in the United States, construction in the BNPP was stopped, and the subsequent safety inquiry in the plant revealed over 4,000 defects. The Bataan Nuclear Power Plant was a focal point for the anti-nuclear protests in the late 1970s and 1980s. The project was criticized for being a potential threat to public health, especially since the plant was located in an earthquake zone, and because a volcano formation, which is the Mount Pinatubo, was found near the location of the plant. And didn't you know having a nuclear power plant also have many disadvantages? So, here are some of its disadvantages. First, nuclear accidents can spread radiation, producing particles over a wide area. This radiation harms the cells of the body, which can make humans sick or even cause death. Illness can appear or strike people years after they were exposed to nuclear radiation, and genetic problems can occur too. A possible type of reactor disaster is known as a meltdown. In a meltdown, the fission reaction of an atom goes out of control, which leads to a nuclear explosion, releasing great amounts of radioactive particles into the environment. Second, it is a high-risk power supply life. Of course, a nuclear power plant has a very high security standard, but it is impossible to build a plant with 100% security. We all know that horrible consequences there will be if an error or accident occurs in this plant. Third is the time frame needed for formalities, planning, and building of the nuclear power generation plant in the range of 20 to
our country. Thank you.
We will proceed to the last part of our debate, giving the summation of the resolution.
Once again, good afternoon to each and everyone. Our team agrees that Philippines will consider to operate the nuclear power plant because we know that we have already a nuclear power plant that can be found in Bataan, and it was called Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Our government cost $2.3 billion for that project, and it occupies 389 hectares. That nuclear power plant was completed, but never fueled. Nuclear power plant is a thermal power station in which the heat source is a nuclear reactor, as is typical in all conventional thermal. A lot of energy is produced from a small mass of fuel. Less use of fossil fuels offer more energy. Nuclear power plants do not contribute carbon emission. No carbon dioxide is given out. Therefore, does not contribute to global warming. The nuclear power plants have advantages. It offers high return of investors and contests a high increase of hydrocarbon prices. It is alternative of fossil fuel, so the consumption of fossil fuels such as coal or oil is reduced. According to my research, there are many advantages than disadvantages of nuclear power plants. It is possible for the scientists to make ways to fight for the disadvantages that releases by the nuclear power plant. Yes, we have many geothermal power plants here in our country, but it is not enough to give us stable electricity because nowadays we have experienced a shortage of electricity. So the answer for our problem is the nuclear power plant. That's all. Thank you.
Once again, good afternoon to everyone. For us, we will not consider Philippines to operate a nuclear power plant. It's because it may worsen our climate temperature because of the different disadvantages of nuclear energy, like radioactive waste, and air pollution. It also poses numerous threats to people and to the environment. Just like what happened in Fukushima, Japan, thousands of properties had been destroyed and thousands of people died because of nuclear energy. We don't want to happen to us what happened to others. We prefer to experience having a blackout than risking the lives of our innocent Filipino citizens just because of putting up that power plant. It's because it will be the cause of sickness or death of humans in our country. What will you gonna do with that kind of power plants if there are more disadvantages than advantages? So for us, instead of spending money and putting up nuclear energy, why didn't you just give it to the people who need it the most? Just like charities, sponsors, churches, and etc. In Bataan, our government wasted so much money in putting up nuclear energy, but they didn't use it. It seems that they just build it for nothing. We are against nuclear energy because it is too much expensive, too risky and dangerous. The need for baseload electricity is exaggerated. The problem of waste remains unresolved. It will increase the risk of nuclear war, and there are major safety concerns and better alternatives than this nuclear energy. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your active participation in this debate. Okay, debaters, please remain on your seat while we wait for the decision of our judges. Now, hearing the arguments, okay, on both sides, the proposition side and the opposition side. Let's ask now the audience, okay, what is your opinion? Do you support for the nuclear power plant or are you against in putting up the nuclear power plant? Okay? Can you please raise your hand for those who support? Okay, let's check. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And those who are against for the nuclear power plant in our country. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, thank you for that. May I hear the idea of car? Okay, car. So will you please explain to us your opinion? I think you are. Do you agree? Okay, so you agree. Explain to us why.
So for me, I agree for the Philippines to operate a nuclear power plant because the nuclear power plant can help our country, the government rather, can help the government to save money because the power plants that we use right now needs maintenance, and if it needs maintenance, it also needs money.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so thank you for your for sharing to us your point of view. Now let's move on to Aldrin. Okay, Aldrin, will you please come here, face the camera.
For me, against having a nuclear power plant in our country, because if we put up in our country have many expenses, have a great expenses, and we know that our country have many credit, and if we put up it, and it may affect our health because of the disadvantage of nuclear power plant, like radioactive waste and radiation coming from the nuclear power plant.
Okay, thank you, Aldrin. So Aldrin is against, okay, on the nuclear power plant. Let's hear from Erica. Okay, Erica.
So in putting up nuclear power plant, it can help us to generate our electricity, and it can help to lessen the use of fossil fuels. But look, in putting nuclear power plant it can produce nuclear waste, radioactive or radiation that can cause the death of people, and our environment will become polluted. Thank you.
So another on the opposition, okay, opposition side. Let's hear from Lindy. Okay, Lindy.
So, good afternoon. I am in favor of putting nuclear power plant because it decreases the rate of blackout, and I don't think it would affect our environment, and it can help many people. Like what Rocaira said, the government will not put a nuclear power plant if it is dangerous to our environment. That's all.
In favor, okay? So Lindy is in favor with the nuclear power plant. And then the last one to share her point of view. Okay, what is the fifth one? Okay, so Stephanie. Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm against to have a nuclear power plant here in the Philippines. Yes, we know that putting up a nuclear power plant is many advantages rather, but there's more on disadvantages. So I prefer the safety of myself and the safety of the health of everyone. Because of the nuclear power plant, many people will sick or worse, they die because of the radiation that we're going through.
Another one before we end, before we declare the winner of this debate. Okay, may I hear from Clergy?
In my side, I am against in putting up a nuclear power plant because it is too expensive in our for us to take the expenses in putting up in our country. However, we have to consider and remember that our country, the Philippines, has so many credits, and it can also nuclear power plants can also destroy our environment, and it can contribute sickness in many people. That's all.
Very, so a very nice input coming from the audience. It only shows that you are participating or you are listening to the delivery of the speeches by the both sides. And now let's hear the declaration of winner on which team wins the debate, the proposition or the opposition, and then the best debater also in both sides. Okay, may I ask Ma'am Emilia Dilzon to come here and announce the winner.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I will just read my decision because Mr. Wong left me with his, anyway, he gave me his result, but I cannot give you exactly the totality. But I can judge anyway, di ba ma'am? Okay, so for me, the winner of this debate is for me, is the opposition. And they garnered a point of 3.5 average ma'am. And for the affirmative, this group has only gained 3. So a matter of 0.5 it exists, no? So that side, the negative side, the opposition is the winner for me. But for the best speaker, I do not know exactly if where will we get the best speaker from this group, ma'am, or from the one who have given their okay. So for me, actually, tuturo ko ha kasi hindi ko sila kilala. So for me, the best speaker is because he has that impact to the audience. He's a very good reader, I should say. Miss Number 2, ma'am. Number 2. At saka, ang aking best speaker in the proposition is number 4. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much to our panel of judges, Ma'am Dilzon and Sir Wong, for extending their time. Okay, so thank you very much for sharing to us your expertise and your time. Now, before we end, okay, I want you to, in one whole sheet of paper, I want you to write your reflection for today's lesson. Okay, so write what have you learned about not only on nuclear power plant, but also with conducting this debate. Okay, so do you like to be part on the debate? Okay, so for the next activity, we'll again select the speaker from the audience, okay, from this group of audience, so that all of you in this class will have an opportunity to be part of the debate. Okay? So since we don't have enough time, your reflection paper will be your assignment to be submitted tomorrow. So not only for the audience, but also to the yes, to the team, the two teams, the opposition team and the proposition team. Once again, thank you for the opposition for winning. Am I right? The opposition team for winning this debate. And for the best debater for the opposition, Miss Hazel, Jean Lorenzo, will you please stand up? And for the proposition side, Alea Rose Denelves. Once again, thank you very much for your active participation. And also, I would like to extend my thanks for those that covering the documentation at the back. Okay, so for Jim, Dustin, for Rafi, and then for Serena. Thank you very much.